fabled heat, where magic meets desire. Subscribe to ignite the fantasy.
Okay, here we go. I'm going to take the shortcut on Christmas Eve's seed and weave a slow burn, fated mate's romance with a werewolf twist into the December 2025 story of the month. Story of the month, December 2025, Silver Bells on a Silent Night. The shortcut on Christmas Eve, that's what the old-timers in Hemlock Creek called it. I called it a damn death wish. Every year I told myself I'd be smarter. Every year I found myself, come Christmas Eve, staring down the snow-choked path that cleaved through the Blackwood. It shaved an hour off the drive to my parents' place, and damn it, Grandma's gingerbread cookies were worth the risk. This year, though, felt different. The air crackled with a strange energy, a low hum that vibrated in my teeth. The forest pressed in, dark and suffocating, even with the dusting of fresh snow clinging to the pines. I tugged my scarf higher, the wool scratching against my neck. My old Jeep, Bess, shuddered and coughed as I shifted into gear. "All right, Bess," I muttered, "just get me through this one last time." The first few miles were uneventful, just the crunch of tires on packed snow and the mournful sigh of the wind. But then I saw them, tracks, not deer tracks, though Hemlock Creek was lousy with them. These were larger, wider, deep. My blood ran cold. The Blackwood wasn't just known for its shortcut, it was known for its asterisk wolves. Not the mangy coyotes people called wolves, but the real thing, the old breed. Legends whispered about them, stories told around crackling fires to scare kids into staying inside after dark. I never believed them, until now. Panic tightened my chest. I jammed my foot down on the accelerator, Bess roaring in protest. I needed to get out of here, asterisk now asterisk. That's when I saw asterisk him. He stood in the middle of the road, a figure sculpted from shadow and snow. Tall, impossibly broad, with eyes that gleamed with an unnerving, almost predatory intelligence. He didn't move, didn't flinch as Bess hurtled toward him. At the last second I swerved, Bess fishtailing wildly. I missed him, but the impact sent the Jeep careening into a snowbank. The engine stalled, plunging me into an echoing silence punctuated only by my ragged breaths. He was closer now, just a few feet away, close enough to see the rough texture of his dark, wind-chapped skin, close enough to feel the heat radiating from his body, close enough to see the way his eyes locked onto mine, a strange intensity burning within them. He wasn't wearing a coat, just a thick woolen shirt open at the throat, revealing a glimpse of tanned skin and powerful muscles. He looked wild, untamed. "You shouldn't be here," he said, his voice a low, resonant rumble that seemed to vibrate through the very ground beneath my feet. My car's stuck," I stammered, my voice trembling. He took another step closer. The scent of pine and snow and something else, something primal and musky, filled my nostrils, making my head spin. "This is my land," he said, his eyes never leaving mine, "and you are trespassing." My fear was replaced by a slow, simmering anger. "It's a public road," I retorted, trying to sound braver than I felt. "I have every right to be here." He smiled, a slow, dangerous curve of his lips. "Not on Christmas Eve." Before I could respond, he reached out, his hand closing around my wrist. His touch was surprisingly gentle, but the grip was iron. "You're coming with me," he said, pulling me from the Jeep. I struggled, but it was useless. He was too strong. I couldn't break free. He led me deeper into the woods, away from the road, away from Bess. The trees grew thicker, the shadows deeper. The air grew colder, but I barely noticed. All I could feel was the heat of his hand on my wrist, the intensity of his gaze. We arrived at a small, secluded cabin, smoke curling from its chimney. It looked ancient, like it had been there for centuries. He pushed the door open, and I stumbled inside. The interior was dimly lit by a flickering fire, casting dancing shadows on the rough-hewn walls. "Stay here," he said, releasing my wrist. "I need to check on something." He turned and disappeared back into the night, leaving me alone in the cabin. I looked around, trying to make sense of what was happening. Who was this man? What did he want with me? The air was thick with the scent of wood smoke and something else, something feral, something wolfish. I ran my hand over my wrist where his grip had been. It felt like it was burning, a strange tingling sensation that spread through my veins. Suddenly, a memory flashed through my mind. a story my grandmother used to tell me about the Blackwood wolves, about how they chose their mates on Christmas Eve, a fated bond forged in the heart of the forest. I shook my head, dismissing the thought as ridiculous, but the tingling in my wrist intensified, and a strange pull, a magnetic force, seemed to emanate from the forest outside. He returned, his eyes even darker than before. He held something in his hand, something small and silver, a bell. "This is for you," he said, offering it to me, a silver bell, a symbol of our agreement. I hesitated, then took the bell. It was cold to the touch, but as I held it, the tingling in my wrist intensified, becoming almost unbearable. "What agreement?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. He stepped closer, his eyes burning into mine. "The agreement that binds us together," he said. "The agreement that makes you mine asterisk." He reached out and brushed a strand of hair from my face. "You smell of lavender and moonlight and something else, something familiar. You are one of us, you just don't know it yet." He picked up my hand, the one holding the silver bell, and kissed my palm. An electric shock ran through me, and I gasped. "Welcome home, little wolf," he whispered, his voice a low growl. "Welcome to Hemlock Creek, welcome to me asterisk." He leaned in close, his lips brushing against mine. My heart pounded in my chest, a frantic drumbeat against the silence of the cabin. Then the door burst open, and a group of people flooded inside, their faces grim, their eyes blazing with anger. "Get away from her, Ethan," a woman shouted, her voice laced with fury. Ethan asterisk, Ethan asterisk. The name resonated within me, a strange familiarity. "She doesn't belong here," another man growled. "She's not one of us." Ethan turned to face them, his expression hardening. "She is now," he said, his voice a dangerous snarl, "and anyone who tries to take her from me will answer to me asterisk." He turned back to me, his eyes filled with a fierce protectiveness. "They don't understand," he said, "but they will. You are asterisk mine now, and I will protect you, always." Then everything went black. I woke up in a bed, soft and warm. The cabin was gone. Instead, I was in a beautifully decorated room. Velvet drapes covered the windows, and the walls were lined with bookshelves. This was a house, not a cabin. Ethan was sitting by the window, his silhouette outlined against the morning sun. He turned as he heard me stir and came to sit next to me. "They were upset," he said, "but you're safe now." "What happened? Who were those people?" Ethan sighed and took my hand. His touch sent a jolt of electricity through my veins. "They're my pack, my family. They didn't understand why I chose you." "Chose me?" "I didn't want to frighten you last night, but it's time you learned the truth." "What truth?" I asked, my heart pounding. "I'm a werewolf," he said simply, "and so are you." I stared at him, speechless. This couldn't be happening, it was too much. "It's true," he said, seeing the disbelief in my eyes. "Your parents kept it from you. They wanted you to have a normal life, but fate had other plans." He took the silver bell from the bedside table and placed it in my hand. "This will help you control your transformations. Wear it always." As he spoke, I felt a strange sensation growing inside me, a wildness, a primal urge. My bones ached, my skin prickled. I looked down at my hands and gasped. They were changing, becoming larger, stronger, covered in fur. I was transforming, becoming a werewolf, just like Ethan. He reached out and took my hand, his eyes filled with understanding. "Don't be afraid," he said. "I'm here for you, always." He pulled me close, and I rested my head on his chest. His heartbeat was strong and steady, a comforting rhythm in the chaos of my transformation. As I continued to change, I couldn't help but wonder what my life would be like now, a life filled with secrets, dangers, and love. I looked up at Ethan, his eyes shining with a love that mirrored my own. Maybe, just maybe, this crazy, unbelievable life wasn't so bad after all. And then a voice in my head said, "I knew it." "To be continued."